Awesome. It is episode 5 of Organic Reach X. So welcome. This is Anna,
Welcome.
and I
And
am with,
Mubarak Sekare.
yeah. So we're starting a new training series today.
Yes,
We,
I'm excited about it. I'm
yeah, me too.
excited. Yeah.
Me too. I know that this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs hear about all the time. Like
Mhm,
your audience has to know, like, and trust you. But
mhm.
like, and I've heard that ever since I like started at the very, very beginning of my business. Like a lot of marketers will tell you that, they have to know, like, and trust you before they can buy from you or whatever. But like I never really stopped to think, what does that even mean? Right.
Mhm.
And so when you suggested that we do this, it's like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. Like, we totally
Mhm.
should do this. So, why do you think it's important to have that know, like, and trust factor before we start this series?
Good, good. First of all, is because the know, like, and trust factor is uh most of the times when you hear this, like, let's forget about the know factor itself, right? But when you hear this word, oh, your customer need to know you, like you, and trust you, you think it's a one thing, right? You need that thing has to happen in a one sitting. They're gonna know you right now, they're gonna like you right now, and they're gonna trust right now, and they're gonna give you their money, right? But actually, it doesn't work that way. In a real life, as when you're dealing with human beings, each sections needs to be taken care by itself. Why? Because think about it. Let's say if you just get to know something for the first time, right? You need time to let it assimilate and sit often, then to choose if you like it or not, right? And then if you like it, then that's another process of liking it. And then from there, if it's a human being, that's when you can open up and be able to trust the person or not, right? So unfortunately, I don't see enough people there teaching how this really works. And that's why I recommended it for our own clients. And now here we are sharing it with you, right? So,
Yeah.
because it's the backbone of any relationship. Forget about even the business. But for you as a business, I think it's unfair advantage if you orchestrate it really good. And we're gonna go in details here how to go about that.
Yeah. And you know, the last trading series that we did were about goals, right? And
Mhm.
so how we're doing this podcast is very strategic for you, right? We're
Yes.
not just throwing around things at you and hoping that something will stick and you'll get value from it. The
Mhm.
reason why we're doing this next training series is that your content, if it has that know, like, and trust factor, and it's aligned to your mission and your purpose and your business's message, that's
Mhm.
ultimately how you attract your ideal clients, the
Yes.
people that you just love to wake up in the morning and it's like you look forward to working with them, right?
Mhm.
And then after you're done working with them for the day, you're like energized because you just love being around them, right? So
Mhm.
isn't that the kind of business that we all want anyway?
Definitely, it's a dream. It's the
Yeah.
dream.
For sure, for sure. So if you get this one thing wrong, we're helping you build your foundations here in each area, right? One, you set your goals that are aligned with your mission and purpose, and now you're aligning your content to your mission and purpose, right? Again, this is very strategic. And if you get this aspect of your content generation wrong, all of your marketing efforts will fail and you're not going to go anywhere. And obviously, we know this from experience, right, Mubarak?
Yes, yes, yes. And again, that's why this podcast for us, it was inspired with our experiences, right? I want you to pay attention what we're sharing with you, and you're gonna see it as we tell stories about our life. This is things that we did. This is the things that we went through, right? And this is the things that we're seeing changing lives in our clients' lives, right? So we said, you know what? Why not we just share it with the world, and so that we can have a big impact as a community, not only just limited people, right? So I want you to hold us accountable on that. Keep coming back and listening and going back and see, right? Because as she said, this was a training. What you're experiencing, it's part of a coaching training that people are paying monthly fee to be part of, right? So they must love it, right? That's why they're with us for this long. And now we're saying, hey, with their permission, like, hey, the world, here it is. You know, it's not the things that we say, okay, let's pick up something. This is only for the people who are not our customers. No, we're giving you the same thing again. Doing what? So that you can know us, right? Know really who we are. And then you can like us, right? That's our hope. And then you can trust us more, right? So, Gal, let's do that.
Awesome. Let's do this. Okay. So again, we have some slides for you as usual. So again, you can watch the full episode with the visuals and the audio and all that good stuff on YouTube. And also you can download the slides as well in the show notes. So episode 5, we're going to do, this is a 4-part series. So this is the first part of this 4-part series. And we're talking about the no like and trust factor. It's a surprise what the 4th episode is because there's only 3, no like trust, right? So this episode is going to be focused all on just the no factor. So we're going to start a series again about the no like and trust factor, and then how you can translate this understanding into an effective, meaningful content for your audience. So for the day, we're going to focus on just the no factor. So what is knowing about you versus knowing you mean? So there's a big difference, right? So knowing about you or of you is simply just knowing the surface details about you or your business. But knowing you is ultimately all about disclosing some personal details or some background story of why you like or love something. These are like the intimate stuff, right? So why you are the way you are, why do you do the business the way that you do, how you think, all that good stuff, right? So you can see the big difference between those two. One is just, you just know about somebody, very superficial. And then knowing you is knowing them at a deeper level, right? So an example, and I'm using Mubarak as an example. And actually, when we were doing this exercise ourselves, like, oh my gosh, I totally thought you had 3 kids, and he actually has 4 kids. I'm like, okay, see, I know you better now. So Mubarak has 4 kids. He's married. He lives in Winnipeg, and he's a really good business coach. If you haven't had the amazing experience of working with Mubarak yet, then you don't know him very well yet. So these are just like off the top, some of the things that you can know about, about him, right? So if you were to sit down with Mubarak and have a conversation, let's say for like 1 hour, right? Then he's gonna tell you stories about his youngest child being really smart. You know, all of the little smart aleck responses that or like the just the stuff that they tell you. It's like, oh my gosh, did that just come from your mouth? Like, I can't believe you just said that, right? Because they're so young, right? So like those are the kind of things that you can hear Mubarak tell about his kids, right? And that's like knowing some deeper stuff, right? And then he is a really good coach, but before he became one, he was a security guard who used some of his work time to develop his business skills. He is now a consultant to his former boss's colleague, right? That is so cool. So that stuff is like, you can't really, maybe if Mubarak wrote a blog post about it, maybe you'll know a little bit about it. But this is how you can use this kind of content to ultimately show people that, 1, you're a very likable person, and 2, they can relate to you, and then 3, that you actually know what you're doing, right? That you're actually good at what you do. So do you see the difference now of the difference of being just knowing about Mubarak versus knowing him at deeper level, right? So what we want to do here is to help you translate this into your business's brand, and translate that into the content that you're going to put out there in social media, YouTube, whatever, right? So to know you, the prospect must get you, right? So in order to know someone, they'd have to share private, intimate details with you, right?
Yes.
So for example, why and how did Mubarak become a business coach after being a security guard? We'll ask that to Mubarak now because obviously he's here and we can ask him. So why did you become a business coach?
Uh, Anna, thank you so much again. This specific episode and part of this series makes me emotional because it takes me back at the humble beginning. Um, as again, Anna, I shared with you, I never dreamed to be a business coach. It was not something I woke up and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be a business coach," right?
Right.
It's one of those things to me. I believe that it seeked out, it seeked out of me, right? I wasn't there seeking out of it. It just happens to be there. And how it all started, and even how I got to be a security guard, it seeked me out. I never went and say, "Yeah, I want to be a security guard." No, I was living my life as a student, right? Going to school, and then I had met my sweetheart, my wife now, right? And we had plans like any other people would have plans, and planning says, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get married, and hey, you're gonna go continue going to school. I'm gonna go continue to work." And then when we got married, and then she changed her mind, she says, "You know what? Okay, we're too young. We would rather have kids right now, and so that we don't have to when we're older, right? Because she loves kids, right? She loves kids, and I'm grateful to have her in my life." Then we're like, okay. And then we got pregnant. Unfortunately, our first pregnancy, she got sick. And she got sick to the point where she had to be induced to have a baby so that she can be able to get treatment that she needed. And through that, guess what? All the plans has to change, right? She had to stop working even before the maternity leave could kick in. And also me too, school wise, I had to stop school because now who is going to make money to keep up the family? So I decided to go to look for a job that could give me a schedule to be able to take care of my family, right? So that's how I started a security guard at my school, where I was going to school to become an engineer. For those people who know North America, Canada, Winnipeg, Manitoba, there is a college called Red River College. That's where I was going, full-time student. I reached out to the security department. I told them my story, and they told you usually we don't give such a position you to give you a position to choose what shift you want to do, but due to your circumstances, we'll be able to give you that privilege. So I got a shift from 3 to midnight, right? And so why 3 to midnight, you would say? Because during the day, I would be able to be with my wife, take care of her, and also take care of a little baby, my daughter, Nawal, my firstborn at the time. And in evening, my sister-in-law, she would come over because her too, she used to go to school. She would come over and be able to take care of my wife while I go to work. I go to work, come back midnight, repeat the same cycle. So as I was there, I had a lot of time, right, to think, right? Again, setting goals. You see how everything comes together. So I had the time to think and set up goals and say, okay, what really do I want to be? Do I want to be a security guard for the rest of my life? Because at that time, I wasn't seeing a possibility of going to school sooner because there was other things that were happening. Then through that, I get introduced to Tony Robbins, right? And I started watching his uh, watching his program, which I still have here. Excuse me, I want to show you something very something that changed the course of my life.
You're
For those
always
who know,
going into that bookshelf.
Of course, that very funny. There is a story about that. For those of you who know, this is it, right? Right.
Let me
And
stop the share so they can see it. Can you hold it up? Yeah.
yes,
Ultimate
the
Edge by
ultimate
Tony Robbins.
edge, right? By Tony Robbins. You see, it's like it has a lot of CDs in here, right? So I took it and put it into my uh, my work closet. But my work closet was full of books and program like this. So every time I'm sitting there, I'm just watching it, right? Watching it, like consuming it, like it became like an obsession, right? Then through that, I came to know that he was launching a program to help people with traumas and challenges. I knew I had traumas that I need to deal with. Through the doing that, it turned out to be a coaching program. Says, hey, now that you know how to heal yourself, why don't you start healing people in your community? There you go. That's how I became a coach, right? And Anna, thank you for bringing up that I'm always reaching out. To me, this shelf here is there for a purpose, right? I call them that, you know, where they say that standing on the shoulders of the giants, right? That's how I feel. Those are my giants, the people who really changed my life, that having them in my back, you just said, I have your back type of story. That's this. They have my back. As you can see, I'm always reaching out, telling, because every book here has a story. Every book here has a story.
Yeah,
So
totally.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. So
Yeah,
that's
you're
how I became a
welcome.
coach. That's how I became a coach.
I love it. And those are the kind of background information that you want your people to know, right? So
Hmm.
if you're listening and maybe you haven't told your story yet of why you even started your business, that will be a great time. It will be a great time to like go live about it on Facebook, write a blog post about it on whatever. Like just tell people about it or write an Instagram post about it. It doesn't really matter. Just tell your story and get it out there, right? Because
Mhm.
those are the kind of things that will draw people to you because they can relate to the story. They can relate to your experience, right? And so I'm pretty sure that you just saw that you experienced that just right now, just listening to Mubarak. It's like, oh, I know a little bit more about Mubarak now and how he became a business coach. And so you probably like him a little bit more right now, right? So
Yeah,
you're
I
now
hope.
seeing that. You're seeing that in action.
Yeah.
So this is a brand example, right? So some of the popular brands that we like, right? So
Mhm.
Zappos, right? So we know of Zappos, right? And also Mubarak has a really good story about Zappos too. We know of Zappos, but if you're one of those fans of Zappos, you probably know a little bit more about them, right? So on
Yes.
their website, how they're using this know factor is they talk about their culture on their
Mhm.
website, right? And why it matters to them. And then what are the core values they live by, right? And then how they work,
Mhm.
right? So like they're giving you also like some business tips. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur looking for some tips, like this is a great way to study. It's to study a company, right? That is doing this no factor, right?
Mhm.
And obviously a lot of people love Zappos. They do a lot of things right. And so why not talk about the stuff that you do well, right?
Mhm.
And then this is another one where they're talking about the stories of their employees, right? I mean, what company does that? I don't really know many companies that do that, right?
Mhm.
And then there's exclusive shopping experience with functional and fashionable products. So it's like this is adaptive to the consumer, right? So
Mhm.
I love that it's kind of customized to each person. So it's kind of like a personalized, customized shopping experience. And then they
Mhm.
also show you the kind of things that they do in the community, like for charity and stuff like that. So this is an example of a brand that does it well. And I think you like them, Mubarak, because of something that's like, is it this the brand or is it completely
Yeah.
different?
No, 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 no. That's the
Okay.
brand. This is wow. So first of all, for those of you may not know or know, but it's unfortunate that the founder, one of the founder, the guy that I came to love through to love the company through him. He passed away trying to save his family, by the way. That's heroic. He did great in his business,
Wow.
and then the house caught on fire, and the guy said, no, I want to go in and save lives of the. He did save them, but unfortunately, due to fire and smoke, as a result, he passed away. Yeah. Wow. Getting goosebumps. Yeah. So Shay, his name was I think Shay. Yeah, sorry I could, but yeah, if you Google him, the founder of Zappos. Yes, by the way, this company was bought by Amazon. That's another thing. Tells you something a little about. Yeah, so I came to know him in 2009, where he was at a business conference sharing exactly what Anna is talking about, sharing his story, right? He didn't share anything specific. All I had, oh, he's the founder of Zappo, but everything else, it was about him, right? How he started as an immigrant. That's why maybe I liked him more. He was an immigrant, a son of an immigrant, right? So do you see? So you will always stories that connect with you. That's why you have to share your story, because people
Yeah.
out there, they're gonna connect, they're gonna resonate with that story, right? So
Yes.
that's what he did for me, Shay. And he shared his story, and I was like, oh my God, I can see myself like you. I can see also immigrants do succeed in North America. Oh my God. So I can do a meaningful things, right? Then he talked about a company which is a child of Zappos, which is called Zappos Insights, right? Which is where all these things happened. Basically, they took everything they do in the business, they sharing it as insights, what they call to wow the customers. So now they're helping other business owners to go to Zappos to experience what it means, what's the culture, right? So we started modeling it, right? We started look, oh, this is how Zappo does. Let me see how I do it. Actually, I founded a group here in my city called Winnipeg Insights as an inspiration from Zappos to
Oh,
just wow the people in my community. The job of that platform is to showcase businesses, people who are like Zappos in my community. Can you tell your story and let basically what they're doing, helping other businesses in my community do that? So that's how much I love Zappos.
that's so cool. And a lot of people love Zappos. That's why it's a great
Yes.
example
Yeah.
to emulate for all of us, right? So
Mhm.
here are a few ways to reach that level of knowing when you're thinking about your content. So let loose with a little color and personality, right? So let's say you're telling your story, just tell it more descriptively, right?
Mhm.
Add your own personality to it, and don't be too like black and white, right? Basically.
Yeah.
So add just more fun to it. So, for example, is there an unusual way that you start your workday that your audience might find odd or funny, right? So you can talk
Yeah.
about that. Are you in business because of a very important personal cause, right?
Mhm.
That's another good one. And then, or was there a memorable moment during a company retreat that your team still treasures, or
Yeah.
a memorable moment somewhere where maybe you learned a learning lesson and you still do it and you still use that lesson, right, in all areas of your life, right? So you want to talk about those. Like I'm always um kind of top of mind as far as like topics I can write about, and things that I believe in. If I hear like a really amazing idea, and I can put my own twist to it because I have a story that I can relate to it, I will write it down in my notes section on my phone, right? Or
Mhm.
I will do like a quick voice recording so I can capture kind of that energy of what I'm feeling in that moment if I'm not
Mhm.
able to write down, um, or if I'm not able to like write out what that idea is yet, right? So those are some of the ways that you can come up with content right away based on these factors that we talk about. So now that you have a deeper understanding of the no factor, how would you write your content moving forward? So that's the question that we're gonna end this with. for you today until the next lesson, where we're going to talk about next lesson, the next episode, where I'm always teaching, right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, okay.
That
Awesome.
where we're going to talk about the like factor.
Mhm.
So are there any like final comments you want to make before we end this episode?
Again, implement, right? This sounds good. It makes you feel good. But let me tell you, if you don't act on it, it's not going to help you, right? So
Yeah.
again, in where you're watching this, either if it's on YouTube, on the website, or even you're listening it as a podcast, please come to there is a way you can look in the show notes and you'll find a way to download this slides for you, right? And then you can go back to it and do that as a homework. Take it as a homework, right? Start seeing, right? Use an example. Go check out Zappos, right? Or find another. Look at another company that you like, right?
Yeah.
My recent love right now, it's Virgin, right? As a group of companies, right? How Richard Branson is doing things, because again, his story. He has some unique abilities that I share with him, that I connected with him. Then I started obsessing with his company, and now it's one of my current company that I look forward learning from and seeing how they do things. I remember I was telling Anna, they do integrated marketing, which is another future episode for you guys here that you're gonna love, right? So implement, right? We don't want you, again, this podcast to be like any other podcast that you're doing. If you're not helping you, stop, go download it, answer that questions, and then, hey, we love hearing back from you guys, right? uh Come share with us what you think about it. How did it work? How did your customers and potential customer, when you told them the stories, what did it make feel? How did it make you feel, right? And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, one thing too about implementation is that this series in particular is a long-term play, right? This
Mhm.
know, like, and trust factor is more like a big picture thing that when you implement it into your content and you have that foundation of the know, like, and trust, and you're always thinking about these principles when you're writing your content, is that it builds on top of each other. It's not like a
Yes.
one and done thing where it's like, oh, I told my story and that's it. It's like, no, not everyone sees your story all at once, right? You're going to be connecting with different people throughout the year, and not everyone will see that the story. You can tell it in many different ways, even though you feel like you've already told it. You can tell it in many different ways. You can tell different stories, and still maybe teach the same lesson. So when I say it's a long-term play, it's something that you got to do consistently in order for you to see a return
Mhm.
on it, right? It's not one of those things where it's like you invest on some marketing thing and then you get the ROI directly from it. This is something that um, is an asset for your business that you're going to be building over time, right? So
Yes.
this is something that, and it's something, also a skill that you can get good at over time, right?
Yeah.
You may not get it good the first time, but with more practice, with more implementation, and then figuring out what the response was to that post or to that blog post or to that video, then you can say, oh, that worked really well. How can I do it a little bit better? Or how can I do a twist on it so I can do a similar thing, but and
Mhm.
get good results, so stuff like that. So don't stress if you don't feel like you've gotten it right away. We don't all get things right away, right? Like
No,
we
we
all learn
don't.
at different paces, we all learn differently. So but just give it a shot. Give it a shot, because if you don't, then you really won't get any results, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. So this has been Organic Reach X.
We show you how to go with the flow organically in your business.
We'll see you next time. Ciao.
See you next time. Bye.